for Northwestern State head baseball coach Chris Bertrand. The Demons heading down to Baton Rouge. They won't see the Tigers. They'll see some Huskies and Seawolves instead in a 4-game series. Before we get to that, Coach, first weekend in the books. You talked about it kind of all weekend. Nuggets to pull out. Even in a tough weekend, there can be things you pull out that are positive.
Absolutely. And listen, man, we're excited about those things that we can pull from it, right? And so for us, it remains the challenge is about balance, right? We want to pull from it the wonderful things that we did. We want to continue to sharpen those things. We want to continue to kind of broaden the scope of those things. And then we have to take the things that we did poorly and we have to really go to work on fixing those things and then using a better and a cleaner brand of baseball in the games in which we play. And so, again, maybe a balanced way in which we're going to, from a scouting report standpoint and a game planning standpoint, prepare for Northern Illinois and prepare for Stony Brook. But before we do that, we have to fix ourselves in the way that we want to fix it, and then we can worry about our opponents, and then we can continue to stack bricks moving forward.
It's a bit of a unique weekend in a couple of ways. You'll play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which you'll do a couple of times later in the year, one being Easter weekend, one being the last weekend of the year. But it's also a 4-game set early in the year. So 4 games presents a different challenge in what way?
I think the biggest thing and obvious to everybody is the way in which you manage the pitching staff. And so we have to pay close attention to the amount of rest. We have to pay close attention to the workload. We have to pay close attention to the way in which we're going to manage the pitching staff over 4 games and also taking maybe a day of rest out of the equation. And so from a planning and an organizational standpoint, we're going to put a lot of thought and emphasis into that, and it's going to be done in a way that I think fits the ball club in the best way that we can. Other than that, listen, man, it doesn't. We take the approach that within our baseball program, when the umpire says play ball, the day of the week, the time that he says it, when the umpire says play ball, the Demons are ready to put their fists up and compete and charge forward, right? And so we want to make sure that we care for the bodies and arms. We want to make sure that we are intentional about the way we organize pitching. But at the same time, we want it to be known that when he says play ball, we're ready to go, man, no matter what.
You also get to do it in a place that a lot of people, you've got a lot of newcomers on this team that haven't played at Alex Box Stadium. And you got a lot of Louisiana guys who probably have grown up wanting to play there. They'll get an introduction after this weekend, which can be special too.
Why not, man? That's absolutely. There you go. I mean, it's they get to play in front of their family and friends. They get to play. You mentioned a lot of Louisiana kids, and so the Louisiana kids who grew up really kind of idolizing and having the dreams. Maybe for some of our guys, their dream of big-time collegiate baseball started in that stadium, or it started watching those teams play. So what a better way for them to get to experience it. And for our out-of-state guys, right, even our new guys or our junior college guys that get to do it for the first time, what an incredible experience, right? I think there we go again in looking at how do we balance that out? How do we love and appreciate the experience and the opportunity that is before us? How do we not allow it to be a distraction, even though we want it to be appreciated and we want them to enjoy the experience that we've provided for them? And then how do we figure out a way to, again, fix ourselves, prepare for our opponent, and go out and compete? And so for us, man, it's constantly about life lessons. We're going to take life lessons from this past weekend. We're going to take life lessons about the opportunity that is before us. And we're going to take our lessons about competing against an opponent, and we're going to throw them all together. And we're going to be darn proud to walk out on that stadium with Demons across our chest and represent the people we represent.
Balance will be another challenge this weekend. Is balance. You're preparing for 2 teams.
That's it.
It's a bit of a mini tournament in a sense. You'll play 2 different teams, which will set you up later in the year. But it's a little different to jump right in and suddenly your scouting reports aren't just Southern Illinois' lineup. Now it's Northern Illinois and Stony Brook in a relatively short turnaround.
No doubt. And listen, how can we execute in this weekend's games and live in the moment, but also take what we're going to be able to learn and use it later? You're going to fall in the same scenario of preparation in a double midweek when you have to prepare for 2 teams back to back. You're going to be faced with the same thing in the conference tournament, where you may have to play double headers in a day. You may have to play 4 games in 3 days. You have to prepare for a multitude of different opponents. At the time where we build a program where we're lucky enough to play in the postseason, that's what a regional format looks like, with 4 teams being played on one site and all these different types of things. And so, man, what can we do now to live in the moment, fix ourselves and compete? But also, when it's all said and done, what can we learn from that and take with us into the future of next week, the future of later this season, the future of later on for our baseball program? Listen, we will never stop learning. We will never stop competing. We will never stop trying to get better. And I think that we have a team that embraces that. And even though things may not have gone our way in the first 3 times we got a chance to do that this season, that doesn't matter to them. What we are worried about is how we can continue to stack bricks and how we can use the lessons to create championship habits. And I think I have a team that wants to do that. And I can't tell you how much it doesn't change the way that I feel about them. I love coaching this team, and I believe to this day that we have what is necessary to have a good baseball team. We just got to keep going back to work, man.
Coach, as always, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.